Welcome, everyone, to the Inspired Choices radio show. I'm Christine McIver, your host for today's show. Very excited. We have a special guest. Simran Singh is with us, and we're going to be talking about the art of soulful reinvention. For now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I would like to be a possibilities coach for you. Working together, we will create the living and loving you desire with all the possibilities available in the universe. My programs assist you in bringing more possibilities to actualization. Are you ready to claim what you desire? You can connect with me on Facebook or through my website, inspiredchoices.ca. So ask yourself, what are you ready for now? And what mystery would you like to unravel? Simran Singh. Today we're going to be speaking about fear. And fear is the flame that will fire you up, an energy to be engaged in, integrated, transmuted, and transformed. World-renowned guest Simran Singh is an expert on the journey of the soul, and she's going to be teaching us about infinite growth, empowerment, and self-realization for today and beyond. We're going to learn how fear is just a different degree of passion. Simran is publisher of the award-winning 1111 magazine. She's a visionary, catalyst coach, and the host of her own seventh wave radio show called 1111 Radio, on which she has interviewed some of the world's spiritual giants in order to facilitate our understanding of this journey of the soul. Simran is an amazing woman who has been blessing so many people all around the world with her Rebel Road show, and I had the pleasure of meeting in person with her when she was in Burlington just recently, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. Welcome, Simran. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's great to be with you again, Christine. As always, I just celebrate you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Well, time always flies so quickly when you and I speak, so we're going to just jump right in. So tell our listeners where you are right now and what the last few months have been like for you on your journey with the Rebel Road show.
I am in the midst of a short break in Charleston, South Carolina, after having just come off 3 months on the road, the Rebel Road one-woman show tour that bridges the dark and the light by connecting the conversations with the universe as those dots that illustrate to us the beautiful journey of the soul, has begun September the 8th of 2013 and will actually run through July 15th of 2014. And over the past 3 months, this leap into the unknown where I didn't plan anything, didn't control anything, and allowed myself to be unlike I've ever been by telling stories, singing, having humor, and allowing every single show to be completely different and guided by the dots has been amazing. We actually had 42 events in the 90-day period, and it was all magical every single moment because the conversations with the universe showed up as if they were on steroids. There were so many happening in every single place. It's amazing.
And conversations with the universe, if someone isn't aware of, is one of the two most recent books that Simran has actually written, and it's How the World Speaks to Us. So Simran, why don't you tell us a little bit about that book, and then I'd like to talk about your new book as well.
Absolutely. Conversations with the Universe, How the World Speaks to Us is a book that I had to write because my own life, after going through a bit of turmoil and breakdown and hardship like we all do, having a dark night of the soul that lasted more than one night, definitely, almost a decade, allowed me to realize that there were certain things I was seeing in my life and they were showing up on a repetitive basis. And as I started to tap into those, I started to realize that there's not just one conversation happening, but these conversations are happening all of the time, and they are happening to each one of us as that constant tapping to try to help guide us along our way. And so that book was created because I realized, number one, I didn't trust the world. I didn't trust the universe. I didn't trust other people or even myself, just like most of us do not. And by following the conversations that were coming and realizing that it wasn't just a sign or a symbol here or there, but that if I was really aware of everything in the world, as me, speaking back to me, that I was literally being spoken volumes each and every day as to the steps I needed to take. And so I wrote this book so that people, number one, could tap into their conversations, begin to understand their dialect and what these conversations mean in their own life, and develop a greater degree of trust in and with the world so that they can step more fearlessly into their lives and allow themselves to move on this plane in a way of courage. And that means stepping out of our boxes, the many boxes that we constantly put ourselves in. And it's interesting to me how our messages show up from everything like numbers and insects and songs and movies and books to things that go on with our cars and our houses and the feelings, smells that show up in our life. And I talk about all of that through the Conversations with the Universe book, as well as the questions asked to help you get clearer and clearer on the inner landscape to create that world that you truly desire to have.
It's an amazing book, and I've been enjoying it thoroughly. And what was surprising to me, Simran, is over the past number of years, I've been on the same type of journey, similar to yours, and coming through challenges and learning to listen and learning to really hear what the universe was saying to me. And yet what you shared in that book expanded it, times 1,000 at least. The subtleties of what is really being communicated to us in every moment is just brilliant. Now, what I did realize, though, over the last several years on my journey is that initially I didn't really believe that they were speaking to me. And I think that probably a lot of people out there today think that maybe the Simrans of the world are special. And not that you aren't, Simran, but that you are more special than any other person, that perhaps they're communicating with you more. Could you maybe tell a little bit about some of the challenges that you've moved through and showing the world that you are experiencing it the same as the rest of us, only just a little bit different text, as it were?
Absolutely. I think that that's what I really want to get across to people, is that this is not about teachers or gurus anymore, and I certainly don't want to be a teacher or a guru for anyone. I want to stand here as an example, showing you that we are each special as the other, and each equal not so. There's no higher or lower, better or worse, that we all have the same God stuff moving in and through us as well as around us. And so as I move through my life, I illustrate to you in the book how everything in our world really is that conversation. The actual ordinary is where the extraordinary resides. And it comes through in things like our cars, flat tires, engines not working, leaks. It comes through our homes when we have a pipe burst or when we have a situation going on. It comes through our children when going through a situation, whether it's health-related or whether it's school-related, to take us to a certain place in our own lives as a message. Even our pets, the illnesses that they go through, the experiences that they go through, are all just conversations back to us. Because literally there is only one of us here, and it's you. And so everything in the world is you speaking back to you. And I discovered this by really looking at my life and asking the questions that if everything in my world, if I wanted to truly believe that none of it was random, that all of it was not specifically created, but specifically created for me, by me, to show me, then what is it here to tell me? And I started asking myself certain questions that I put in the book, and I'll mention a couple of them to you, because there's 5 very powerful questions. The first 2 are, where is that in me? And so if it was a pipe bursting in my house, I would ask myself where that was in me. If it was a flat tire, I would ask myself where that was in me. But depending on where in the car it was, or whether it was front or back, or all these different elements that I explain how to utilize this method of conversation, I began to discover things going on in my life that I couldn't see because I was projecting outwards, like we all do initially. And these conversations are meant to bring you back in. And so asking that question, where is that in me, brings you back in. And then asking that question, what is that here to reveal to me about me, and what gift is dormant within me waiting to now emerge, allows us then to still stay inside and see something that we've not allowed ourselves to see. And so each one of us are that special individual, and it is the ordinary in our lives that is here to awaken that within us.
It's so beautiful. I remember when you were speaking live at the event I joined, and the one thing that you said that completely started to switch things dramatically for me is when you said, we are just on this journey here. There is only us. We are here only with us. And so if we are here only with us, then why are we in fear? And
exactly.
I've begun to really, really step into that, Simran. So maybe we can step into the fear that we're talking about the art of soulful reinvention and how fear is actually can be the catalyst for us to move us through.
Well, the fact of the matter is if we didn't have a level of fear, none of us would do anything. It would be kind of a humdrum, mundane life because there would be no need to do anything. What has happened, though, has been a misconception. Just like most of the things that our perceptions are those misconceptions. And so when we were younger, we would have these feelings inside of our body, and they would be things that would be maybe pounding in our chest or tightening in our stomach or a ball in our throat or sweating or feeling really jittery inside of our skin. And because we saw that people around us identified those feelings as being afraid or not allowing themselves to do something, we started to decide that that is what that means, that it means fear. Well, if you look at it, excitement has the exact same response, that they're all really the same things. If I'm excited, I'm feeling a pounding in my chest. There'll still be a pounding in my stomach. I still get that lump in my throat. I still might sweat or get tingling all over, and it's excitement. So we've bought into this idea that fear is a certain definition based on an acronym that we've always used, and I'm not even going to repeat that one because I want you to know a new one. Fear for me stands for feeling excited about reality. And all of a sudden when we realize we're getting that sensation through our body about something that is unknown, then what we're really doing is feeling excited about a new reality we can create, because the unknown out there is not really a big scary place. The unknown out there is actually more of us. We cannot keep spirit in a bottle, but yet we've been trying to do that by keeping it in spacesuit physical structures. When we are experiencing that thing we want to call fear, what we're actually experiencing is the desire of the spirit wanting to go into the unknown, which is the greater expansiveness of ourselves. And that is what I mean by the oneness, that there's only one of us here, and it's all it is. It's inside of us and outside of us, but it's still all just us.
Beautifully said, Simran. Beautifully
said.
I
get so excited.
I know you do. I love it. You are amazing. I could listen to you for hours and hours. And by the way, if you haven't had a chance to go see Simran live at the Rebel Roadshow, find out where she's going to be. Go and enjoy yourself immensely. She tries to tell the world that she isn't a very good singer. I think she's a wonderful singer, and I love the jokes that you told. Like, you really, Simran, if you ever give this gig up, you could do that one for sure.
Well, Christine, I appreciate that so much because you saw me early on, and I think you're being flattering to me right now, but actually I've gotten pretty good.
Well, you need to record some of that.
We are experiencing itself. You are not on a journey. You are the journey, and we are each here as experiencing itself. So as I began this whole tour, I had no idea what I was doing, nor did I know how to do it. And the beauty is, I wasn't supposed to know. I wasn't supposed to perfect it. I didn't have to have it right from the beginning because I was going to have 66 shows, which just meant I was going to have the practice along the way. I was going to get better. And if we could all just approach life in that way, rather than the pressure of having to do something right from the get-go, or having an agenda, or having to prove ourselves as perfect, all of a sudden we relax, and we actually have a good time on this playground called Earth.
Right. Well, we are going to take a short break, and when we get back, we're going to continue to talk about this. We would love to take your live calls. In the U.S., you can call 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or you can join us through Skype at zen.fm, or jump over to my Facebook page, Inspired Choices Inc., and post a question there, and we'd love to take your questions. And so stay tuned, and we will be back in just a few moments.
You're listening to A to Zen FM, life-altering talk radio. Anything from activism to Zen and everything in between, right here and now. Informative, inspiring, engaging. Our host provides you with the global news and educated advice you need to make a difference in your life, in your world. Knowledge is power. A2Zen.fm.
We welcome your phone call, your questions, and comments. Please call now, 815-880-TALK. Come on, what's stopping you? 815-880-8255. You can Skype us for free from anywhere. Just add us to your Skype. A2Zen.fm is our Skype name, or you can find the logo and click on it on our website. Call now at 815-880-TALK. Chat soon.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And my special guest, Simran Singh, we're talking about the art of soulful reinvention. If you would like to connect with Simran, she has a number of different places. The main one being Simran-Singh, that's SIMRAN-SINGH.com, and of course her 1111 magazine and her rebelroadshow.com, or therebelroad.com, conversationswiththeuniverse.com. Simran, you have a lot of websites, my friend.
You know, I just think that we are here to create constantly, and so I just love creating things.
I love that. Good for you. So before the break, we were talking about fear and how it begins to be a catalyst. Now, what I really observed with you, and if you've been following some of Simran's videos, which you're doing a video practically every day, and you've joined listening to her live on the Rebel Road Show or any of her radio shows, she speaks to the fact that she has not done the same show exactly the same every time. And yet, as you said, I saw you at one of the very first shows. I honestly would never have guessed that that wasn't a very well-rehearsed show. But I do believe you because I've been listening to you for months now, going through this, continuously. I've been following your journey. And so what amazed me was the level of relaxation that came across when you were speaking. And yes, you're a professional and you've done this for a long time, but doing the singing and the jokes and telling some very personal stories, you were extremely relaxed. Were you actually stepping into feeling excited about this new reality as you were doing your show?
I was in this place of really realizing that who I had been had gotten me as far as I could go. And the only way that I was truly going to discover a different life or a different world is for me to discover the unknown of myself. And that meant really allowing myself to ask for what I desired to experience. Too many of us ask the question, why am I here? What's my life purpose? What does all of it mean that's going on in my life? Those are the wrong questions to ask. Every time we come to that place in us where we don't know what the next step is, the question is actually, what experience would I have now? And in that moment, what I wanted to experience was intimacy and vulnerability and my creative capacity and the ability to have fun and to laugh and to be in a way that I'd never been before, because I'm a very serious person. I'd always been a hermit. I had always been very shy. And so in just giving myself permission to even do that, and giving myself permission to be the spiritual fool, and giving myself permission to mess up, to not have to have it perfect, it created a level of relaxation. And I didn't plan any of it. I knew that I want to experience that thing that we all talk about. All of us spiritual, inspirational, motivational people talk about the laws of the universe. We write about how life should be and how we can create our lives. I wanted to stop writing and talking, and I wanted to start actually living it and experiencing it. And this was the way that I knew how to. And it has created more aliveness in me, more spontaneity. and more of a celebration than I've ever known before. And yes, every single show has been different because I just step up there and allow myself to let it flow. We are not supposed to live Groundhog Day every single day. So why should my show be the same? We are not meant to be homogenized humans where we are copycats and follow the leaders. So why should I do it the same as anyone else would do it? And that is probably the biggest message I can give everyone, is don't allow yourselves to fall victim to that idea that we have to do it the way everyone else does, because we are each unique genius here to shine our light in a most beautiful, most magnificent, unique way.
I just want to keep listening to you, Simran. It is true. We really do have this. It's this dichotomy that's going on inside of us. We want to experience fun things. We want to have the experience of joy within us, and then we fight the change. And as you were talking, you had said about moving forward and about really having these new experiences and not being the hermit anymore. One of the things that I've been really stepping into is more of the vulnerability. And I'm really beginning to understand what vulnerability truthfully is. And with the Access Consciousness work that I do, we speak about allowance and vulnerability being the lubricant of change. Can you speak to that at all, Simran?
The more real we are willing to be with ourselves and each other, the more we open up something in our DNA that allows us to have a piece of courage and fearlessness that was not there before. It also opens us up to possibilities we never let ourselves see. That thing that we call fear is the constriction of saying I have to hide, I have to put on a mask, I have to let myself see me the way society tells me I am allowed to be seen. But when we step out from behind those masks and we finally say, I no longer accept any excuse in my life to not live my dreams, I no longer accept the beliefs and limitations of others or myself that I've kept myself down, all of a sudden we free ourselves. Too many are seeking that fun and seeking that laughter or that dance or that play, and we're seeking it by wanting someone else to do it for us. We are the creator. Each and every one of us are God walking. Not even co-creator. You are God walking. And so who is it that you want to come and make you have that fun and joy? You are here to create it yourself. How will you do so? How will you experience it? What will you allow into your life so that you discover something that's always been inside of you that you've never let bubble up?
So, Simran, for you, what was it, the thing that really catapulted you into stepping out from where you were?
I think I had reached a point where I had left an 18-year marriage. I was back at a place that I had been 7 years before, but yet different. 7 years before, I was on the ground, weeping, broken, wounded, victim, all of those things, questioning why my life looked the way it looked. 7 years later, I had created amazing things. I had empowered myself. I had come to a place of peace, a place of contentment. But I was seeking, where's the bliss? Where's that thing called the bliss that everyone talks about? I'm very content. I'm at peace. Life looks fine. But I want more than that. I should be allowed to have more than that. And so I wanted to discover where that more lay. And it wasn't going to be that someone else was going to give it to me. I knew I had to be willing to allow myself an adventure of some sort. Now, my adventure happened to look like getting in an RV with 2 kids going around North America to 66 cities and putting on a one-woman show where I sing, tell stories, and laugh. And that might not be the adventure that you're looking for, or it might be. But there's an adventure inside of each one of us that is waiting to be dove into, if that is even a word. It is just waiting to be the adventure in life. Not to live an adventure, not to find an adventure, but to be the adventure as life.
So, Simran, if you were, quote-unquote, content, and everything was, all pretty good in your life, why was it important for you to step out to more? What was the important impact that was going to make in the world for you to come out of that? And there must have been times when you were a little less than comfortable in stepping out?
Well, I think that's the key word that you're just saying right now is the word comfort. Because what I realized is I'm actually finally comfortable in my skin. But maybe that's another one of those perceptions that we've got all wrong. Maybe it has nothing to do with being comfortable in the skin. Maybe it's all about being comfortable outside our skin. Because outside of our skin is our higher divine self. Outside of our skin is the allness of the great presence, of the essence, which we are. But we've limited ourselves to being just this being in the body. Contentment would have been fine. But what I realized is I was at more risk staying who I was than I was discovering who I'd never been. And that's what everyone has to ask is, are you willing to risk the settledness? Are you just wanting to settle in life for what you've got? Or are you willing to really allow yourself everything that is your divine right? And either one is fine. We can each make the choice to do whatever we want. But will you really want that end of your life? Or will you look back and say, gosh, I never did this, I never did that? You've got nothing to lose. The most important thing we all can lose, however, is our mind. And it is the mind that makes up the excuses. It is the mind that keeps us limited. It is the mind that keeps us trapped. I had to lose my mind, and I'm so glad I did.
So what about the people, Simran, who say to you, what about the bad things that happen? How do I possibly step out for there?
Well, there's all kinds of things that can happen, and whatever is bad for you is going to be a different degree than bad for someone else. If you're talking about a challenge or an obstacle, right when we began this journey, we embarked out and we're just 2 hours out, and the RV just wouldn't crank. It wouldn't crank in 3 different stops that we had to get to. We kept having to be jump-started until we finally got it fixed. And what I know about the world is everything's a conversation, every single thing. And so the piece that was not working inside the RV that needed to be replaced was a piece called the solenoid, and it's a little box that's the communication device between the ignition and the engine. And once we got that fixed, we got to the next camp place. And again, it wouldn't crank. And I knew, okay, this has happened too many times for this to be anything other than a conversation. So let me sit and figure out what the universe is really trying to say here, because the universe is always at play with us. There really is no obstacle. There's no obstruction. There's no challenge. It's all good. And as I sat down quietly, the word solenoid popped into my head, and I started saying solenoid, 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 and it turned into solenoid. And so I realized that I was being guided as to the first topic in the first show, or a piece that would be woven into that would be ongoing. And I realized that what the universe was trying to express was that it is the silly noise inside of us and outside of us that keeps us stopping and starting and stopping and starting, not allowing us to fully live our dreams. And I asked the universe, is this what you're trying to get across to me? And if it is, let my RV crank up this time. Well, it cranked that time and every time since then. What if the entire world is always playing with us in this way? And it is just our own mind that makes us think that there's a challenge or an obstacle or something bad happening.
Oh, that is a brilliant story. And I've had personal stories myself where you're just laughing when you realize that that's the simplicity of the conversation that we're all having if we will sit back and actually begin to listen. And it's interesting, too, I'm sure you have found it, some of the things that the universe will do to have us pay attention and listen, that it can be pretty interesting and challenging at the same time. But I have found with both my clients and myself that sometimes it has to get pretty loud for us to listen. Have you experienced the same thing?
Most definitely. I mean, I think we create pebbles, rocks, and boulders in our lives. And again, we're talking about the universe doing this to us. There's no universe. You are it. You are the universe, creating these scenarios simply to experience itself. If there's an experience that you are longing for, an experience of expansion, but you won't move into that way of expansion, whether it is to be a writer or to be a mom or to be someone in the community that's actively doing something. Whatever your thing is that you want to step into but you keep holding back on, your soul knows that. Your God essence knows that. And if you don't forthrightly step forward in it, then you, as universe, is going to create a pebble to kind of stumble you, to make you go back and think about what it is you really want. It's going to send you the signs and symbols. You, sending you signs and symbols so that you move into what you really want. There really is only you here. And you are the divine. You are God walking. You are the journey as experiencing itself. It's what you chose to do when you individuated here in the name that you call yourself.
That's wonderful. And it also expands most of us, because most of us do feel like we are at the effect of what's going on around us. And as you said, we are experiencing ourselves. So we're going to go for another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with this wonderful conversation with Simran and also get into talking about her new book that's just recently been released. So please stay tuned, and we will be right back.
You're listening to A2Zen FM, life-altering talk radio. Anything from activism to Zen and everything in between, right here and now. Informative, inspiring, engaging. Our hosts provide you with the global news and educated advice you need to make a difference in your life, in your world. Knowledge is power. A2Zen.fm.
We welcome your phone call, your questions, and comments. Please call now, 815-880-TALK. Come on, what's stopping you? 815-880-8255. You can Skype us for free from anywhere. Just add us to your Skype. A2Zen.fm is our Skype name, or you can find the logo and click on it on our website. Call now at 815-880-TALK. Chat soon.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Choices radio show with your host, Christine McIver, and my wonderful guest, Simran Singh, who is globally reaching hundreds of thousands of individuals with her passionate wisdom. Simran, on your Rebel Road show, what is one of the most wonderful experiences that you have had to date that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I think the most wonderful experience is something that is common to all of us when we allow ourselves to step out in a new way. I embarked on something that was truly, completely unlike myself. And I have been placed in the most sacred of places with the most sacred of audiences, each holding a space for me to experience myself in this way. As I received this vision, I was guided that the right places would show up. They would invite me. The people would show up that needed to show up. It's not to control anything, and it would just happen. Number one, that has all occurred. 42 stops in the first leg. Another 22 already formed on the second leg, and more still coming. What this illustrated to me was that we are always being guided. We are always being trained in each and every step. What this has been a wonderful sacred cushion for me to create confidence and courage and a manner and a way of being in the world that was different. And it was allowing me training ground. And that's the beauty. Each one of us are never going to be just thrown into something, thrust into a new experience without any training. We are always given the steps that will allow us to lovingly be supported and guided as we move into new ways of being. And those steps are always taking us higher and higher to something else. And so anyone that is sitting in any kind of state of restriction or fear or paralysis, you must understand that you are loved so much that you will never be given more than you can absolutely handle. And you will always be given the sacred space to grow in the way that will lead you to your very next best step.
So Simran, on your journey, you have continued to write, and I think you actually completed this book before you started the Rebel Road show. So your latest book is Your Journey to Enlightenment, 12 Guiding Principles to Connect with Love, Courage, and Commitment in the New Dawn. That one just was released recently, is that correct?
It's available right now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble by pre-order, but I think they have the books that are shipping. Its official release is January 1st. And there's a really interesting story about this book. When I said yes to the Rebel Road, embarking in this way last December, it was a year ago at this time that I finally said, hey, universe, I'm going to do this. Then all of a sudden, in the beginning of January, this book started channeling in. And I was just writing. It was some of the most beautiful material that I've ever seen. I was just astonished. And about 2 weeks into all this writing, my agent contacted me and said, there's a publisher that's just called me. They're interested in a book being written, and they have a topic that they already want, and they have asked specifically for you. Are you interested in writing up a book proposal for this? And I told him, I'm in the midst of writing something that is truly beautiful, but if you want to send me the information, I'll see if I have time to get a book proposal together, and we'll see what goes. He sent me what they wanted, and it happened to be the exact same topic that was pouring in, which just illustrates that when you line up with what was always meant to be for you, the universe already has it lined up for you to have it. And so it's amazing that this book that began in January, they wanted completed in May so that they could release it this time of the year. And as I was proofing it about a month ago for it to go to print, I had not read it up until that point again, and I was rereading it, and it was like, oh my goodness, the insight in this book is all of the amazing insight that I have had along the journey of this tour. It is awarenesses and ahas and principles of how to move out of our oppression and our boundaries and our enslavement so that we can really be this new human that is free and boundless and timeless and walking with love, courage, and commitment. And so this is such not only an amazing follow-up to the first book, because the first book, Conversations with the Universe, helps us trust, but this second book, Your Journey to Enlightenment, really helps individuals leap into their courage fearlessly and with love and commitment.
I'm just looking at the book online right now, and if you'll indulge me, I'd like to read something that you have written. It says, I am the dream awakening. I am a spark, a divine one. My brilliance lights up the world. My radiance is the dew of creation. I am the divine masculine that seeds ideas. I am the divine feminine that nurtures and rears them. I am the divine child here to engage with them. I am the divine giggle that sustains them. I am the connective golden thread to all things, birthing, shifting, evolving. I am the space of the unknown waiting to become known. I am the experience and expression of love, courage, and commitment, being divine essence in play. The truth is out. That is absolutely gorgeous, Simran.
Thank you. It is amazing. The book is, what book really is an activation of awakening. And so long everyone's been waiting for awakening to happen, or waiting to have mystical moments, or waiting for something magical and just hanging on it when it does occur. And the fact is, awakening is an internal process that is self-activated. This guide is the self-activation of that process. It is filled with these types of prayers, with dialogue that literally reframes the genetic structure inside so that you start to move into this new way of being that is the multidimensional human in New Dawn.
That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And it's time. People have been seeking and seeking, and I've experienced with many people over the last year that they're totally ready to make something happen, and it feels to me like people are stepping into that place of demanding more for themselves, and seeking seems to have gotten louder. Have you experienced that with people around the world as well?
Yes, I think that there are many that are demanding more for themselves, and I think that that is an essential step. What is going to be the leap off of the cliff is actually when we say, I am allowing I'm truly ready to allow it rather than demand it. I'm truly ready to create it rather than force it or push it. I'm truly ready to play rather than work and toil.
And so for you, what is the next steps? Now, I know that you're at home right now and you're off to Peru. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm so excited. My favorite place in the world is in silence. And the place to do that happens to be in these gardens in Peru that I take people every year in the summertime. They are magical and beautiful and full of amazing energy. And I'm going to be going there to spend 10 days in silence to reflect on the amazing 3 months that I've had and to prepare for the next 6 months that will be on the road, and to just allow myself to have the space to cherish the divine inside me and outside of me. And that's something that's so important for each one of us to begin doing in our lives, is to have moments of silence where we really sacredly cherish who we are, and what is all around us as us. And so I'm excited about that. And I also extend the invitation for those interested in having an amazing experience to look at the trip to Peru that is July 24th to August 2nd this summer. It is one of the most incredible experiences of stepping into Mother Earth's womb space, the sacred heart of this planet, and being bathed in energies that will just uplift and energize you in ways that will reverberate throughout your own life creation.
Oh, that sounds absolutely amazing. So, Simran, where are some of the locations where the Rebel Roadshow will be continuing in your next leg of the show?
We will actually be beginning in Florida in January, and we go across the bottom of the United States. We have places in Louisiana scheduled. We have Austin, Texas, McAllen, Texas, Houston, Texas. Every state along the way, we've got certain places scheduled, and then we'll go up the West Coast into Vancouver as we move through California and Washington and Oregon, and then we come back diagonally across. We don't miss out on any states as we make our way back to July. And just looking forward to seeing everyone out there that is truly ready to become the creative rebel and feel a spark light up within them as they learn how to bridge the dark and the light and to connect the dots of their own lives.
That's wonderful. And if people are looking for you online, of course, you can connect with her, Simran, at simransingh.com, 1111 Magazine. You've also got a YouTube channel. You're just everywhere, Simran, which is wonderful for all of us. So thank you so much for all that you do. We're going to take our last break, and then when we come back, we're just going to have your last final thoughts for all of our listeners. So please stay tuned, and we will be back momentarily.
You're listening to A2Zen FM, life-altering talk radio. Anything from activism to Zen and everything in between, right here and now. Informative, inspiring, engaging. Our host provides you with the global news and educated advice you need to make a difference in your life, in your world. Knowledge is power. A2Zen.fm.
We welcome your phone call, your questions, and comments. Please call now, 815-880-TALK. Come on, what's stopping you? 815-880-8255. You can Skype us for free from anywhere. Just add us to your Skype. A2Zen.fm is our Skype name, or you can find the logo and click on it on our website. Call now at 815-880-TALK. Chat soon.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Choices Radio Show with Christine McIver, your host, and my wonderful guest, Simran Singh. Simran, before you go, what is the last things that you would like to have our listeners know about you and what they can be doing for themselves to really step into the conversations with the universe?
Primarily, I just want people to understand that our first step is a step of trust. Learning to trust ourselves, the world around us, and the universe is the only way that we're going to leap into courage into anything, and that we are all seeing something. There is something that's constantly tapping at you, whatever way your conversation is happening. It may be numbers, words, songs, insects, birds, but there is something. And every time you see that something, really take notice of what's going on in your heart or your gut, because it is trying to let you recognize a thought or a feeling that is taking place in that moment. And usually that will be a choice to do something that is in the way of your empowerment. What tends to happen is we talk ourselves out of that. We go to the mind. The sign is showing up to tell you to stay in the heart, to get out of your logical mind, because spirit is anything but logical, and to take a step. A conversation requires two. The sign and the symbol showed up as one half of the conversation. Your action, your step, is the other part of that conversation. And when you do so, other doors will open, other things will happen, more signs will come as the universe starts to speak back to you again throughout the world. Again, you are not on a journey, you are the journey. And the one thing you must understand is that you are in love all of the time. You are of love all of the time. You are with love all of the time. You are simply here to be as love all of the time. If in this moment you'll just close your eyes and take a deep breath, I'd love to let you know who you really are as you take in these words. To center into your heart, see that spark of light there that is glowing and shining, that is the part of the divine line that runs up the front of your spine, reaching high into the heavens and into the earth. And just breathe with me. I am the one who plays. I am a child of the universe, a divine one. My laughter lights up the world. My song is the sound of creation. I am the divine devilish who creates mischief with a sly smile. I am the divine angelic one that embraces with a compassionate eye. I am the divine godly one, creating in love every moment. I am the divine scale of balance that also disciplines my experience. I am the light that is to color this world. I am the harmony that rises once the sound is heard. I am the space of the unknown, waiting to be known. The truth is out. Step into your conversations with the universe. Step into your journey into enlightenment. And connect with me at any time at Simran-Singh.com.
Thank you, Simran. That was beautiful. We have so many things to learn from each other and our experiences. We have so much that we can be sharing, each and every person, whether you're someone like Simran who has stepped onto the world stage or you're someone that is communicating within yourself. And it's important that we all begin to listen and know that we are a contribution to all of those around us, and we're being the invitation when we step into this for ourselves. It's such an amazing journey to share with you, Simran, and I'm so blessed to have connected with you a number of times. I thank you so much for all that you're doing and for the example you are being for each and every one of us. It's fantastic. So, Simran, what's in your future when the Rebel Roadshow is done? Have you any hints of where your next journey may take you?
You know, that's the beauty of what I've stepped into, is I am living so present to the moment, and I've got to be in this place now. I don't do anything that has to have an agenda or a measurement or a future. I really am living presently, and I'm waiting for the future to unfold when it gets here. So I haven't planned anything. The only thing on my mind right now is what I will be doing with my kids right after this show. and beyond, and I know that I'm going to be in silence for 10 days in the end of next week. Other than that, I have not a clue. And most importantly, I still have no idea who I am. And yet I do. And that is the biggest, most beautiful thing of all for each one of us to discover. If you are afraid of anything that you want to step into, what is really the worst that could happen? That was the question that I asked myself when I was about to embark on the Rebel Road. Simran, what is the worst thing that could happen if you do this? My response was, I'll have an adventure. I invite you into your own adventure as life.
That's wonderful. And how is Tuck doing? Tuck is your wonderful supporter and friend on this journey. How is Tuck doing?
She's amazing. You know, that is incredible to me that a woman would step away from her married life, from her home, from everything she knows, not ask me for a single dime, and just simply show up doing whatever needs to be done as I traipse around the country with my 2 kids in an RV. And she has been such a great playmate. I feel like I having a year's worth of slumber parties. We laugh all the time. You can meet her on a lot of the YouTube videos, and she is a wise, wise jester. She has got such wisdom of the wise woman, and yet she has the playful and joyful quality that is the jester. And it is an amazing thing to be around. So thank you for asking about her.
And you have more individuals with you on the show or on the road besides your two wonderful boys. Do you have one or two other women that are supporting you on the road?
Actually, by the time we finished the first leg, it was myself, Tuck, whose last name is Self, so it really is me and myself, and my two kids. But what I saw in the vision last year before I began all of this was that it would not just be me going around the country, that there would actually be other RVs and cars that would be following. And as of January, we have 6 others that have contacted me to literally get in their own RVs and go around the country with us for whatever reason. There's really not a plan even to that. They just said, we want to come, we want to support, we want to play on this playground in the way that you are. And so as of January, the Rebel Road Tour is evolving into the Caravan of Celebration.
Caravan, that is fantastic. Now you have to get the Caravan on the YouTube so we can all experience that with you while you're on the road.
Oh, of course. Everything will be shared.
Well, I'm going to look forward to that for sure. So thank you, Simran, so much for being with me today and for the blessing that you be in all of our lives and for teaching us to learn to experience life in the moment and not the planning, which is definitely an uncomfortable place, but I'm learning to get much more comfortable with it and actually surprised by what the universe is bringing. So it's wonderful to be experiencing this alongside you. So if you would like to connect with Simran, of course, it's simran-singh.com. Her wonderful books, Conversations with the Universe and Your Journey to Enlightenment. Wonderful Christmas ideas, people, if you're still looking for someone special. And, of course, you can catch Simran on Facebook as well. Next week, we're going to have a special guest with us. Her name is Marilyn Bradford, and we're going to be talking about addiction and the holidays. And she's going to be sharing 9 tips for the holiday season so we can enjoy it with more ease and joy. And, of course, you can connect with me at inspiredchoices.ca. I have a number of programs that I do, and some of the programs that I'll be doing is one next Tuesday, actually. It's called Play with Possibilities 2014. It's going to be a free webinar that you'll be able to join. Please connect with me at Inspired Choices Inc. on Facebook, and we're going to be doing that at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join in to learn how to play with the universe, learn to listen to the conversations as you move forward. So coming out of the goal setting, coming out of the New Year's resolutions, and really learning to play with some new tools that I'll be sharing with each and every one of you. Of course, I offer possibilities coaching, Access Consciousness, the bars, Foundation Level 1, and Actualizing Your Abundance. If you would like to connect with me, please send me an email, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. And until we all connect again, I hope you have an amazing week. Simran, thank you again so much for being with me, and I'm sure we'll be connecting again very soon.
Oh, thank you, Christine. It is always a pleasure, and I look forward to it.
Thank you. All the very best for everyone. And if you don't connect next week, have a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and I don't know all the rest, but I'm sure Happy Holidays will cover it. So thank you again, everyone, and all the best. Bye for now.